I grew up in New Mexico, a small town outside of Gloria Pass. So there was a lot of dense, unpopulated forest with the foliage so thick in places that the sun was completely blocked out. When I was a kid, my friend and I used to go into the woods behind my house a lot. We weren't scared to be out there by ourselves. It was fun. But one summer, about 18 years ago, there was this awful fire that burned down a huge section of the forest, a couple miles behind my house. The firefighters got it under control, but when they came back, they weren't the same. It was like they had fought a war out there. I mean, my friend used to say that they were like
walking dead people.
They didn't smile or say anything when we went up to them, and shortly after, they just disappeared. When it was finally safe again,
we decided to hike out to where the fire was.
We didn't tell anyone.
And it was pretty exciting to break the rules.
We hiked out about 2 miles before we started to see the damage. I remember us finding a dead deer just curled up under a tree. He wanted to bury it. Something about its antlers. It just looked weird. I wouldn't let him touch it. Anyway, we kept walking. We got to this clearing where everything was just burnt and dead, like being on another planet. But then we started to hear shouting. Of course, we both panic, thinking that it's our parents. So he hides behind a rock on the edge of the clearing, and I started to follow him until I remembered all of the hikers used to get lost out here. I could tell that they were following my voice, but when he broke through the edge of the clearing, I could see his face was red and his clothes were all torn up. I ran to meet him,
What?
but
Why?
I need your first aid kit.
his face, his nose,
God, can you
his
see
lips,
his face?
even a part of his forehead was just gone, sliced right off. He was bleeding so bad and his legs were all slashed. I staggered back, but he grabbed my shoulders and then jerked back like I electrocuted him.
Have you seen my
He
unit?
had on this weird
God, I
gray
got so
jacket
lost.
with gold
Please
buttons
help me.
and red
Where
borders.
am I?
And almost
Where's my
formal
unit?
pants, but
I have to get back to them.
completely out of place
I
for a
don't
hiker.
know.
I
What are you
tried to
talking
open
about?
the first aid kit, but he just screamed.
Don't touch me! Don't make me go
And took off running, screaming the whole time. I just stood there watching him until he was out of sight. Even that wasn't enough to calm the fear. My friend kept asking me over and over what happened and who that was, but even I didn't know. When eventually we got home, I told him that I didn't want to go into the woods anymore. 18 years later, we're still friends, but we don't talk about that guy. Not ever.